welcome to this video today. This is the director commentary on the Silence Study, and today we're going to be talking about the codes, conventions, and representation in Silence Study. A little bit of context: Silence Study is this short film opening that me and my team have created, and it is a thriller. It is a crime and psychological thriller. The opening scene, I think you can kind of figure it out. It's going to be some sort of crime in there. Maybe not really psychological, but we will talk about that later on. So, a little bit of introduction. This idea that we have to make this video is based on a real life story, and the part that we showcase is just a small part of this real life tragedy. We highly suggest everyone to look this up in the news or YouTube, and even if you're not into crime or psychological stuff, it is still something quite relevant in the society, and it is quite recent as well. Disclaimer: this video will briefly cover about sensitive topics such as murder, confinement in small spaces, knives, and psychological problems. Those topics will be mentioned later in the video, but let's leave the heavy stuff later of the video. And right now, honestly, I'm just gonna talk you guys through about how different details of our opening scene represents different concepts, and also how we designed this filming. So let's break down this video with me. Talking about thriller, the genre has been traced back to the 18th and 19th centuries when Gothic literature and early novels, well, you definitely heard of Frankenstein or Dracula, you know, the vampires and the witches. Say the perfect definition of thriller, if you still don't understand what I'm saying right now, is literally Michael Jackson's song Thriller. The song pretty much is very self-explanatory. The song is called Thriller. The music video is literally werewolves and ghosts and all of that stuff. And it's a really good song. If you don't know this song, I don't know what's wrong with you. The psychological thriller as a distinct genre has gained its prominence in the mid-20th century, particularly with films with Alfred Hitchcock. This guy is a legend. This guy basically made thriller the big thing. He's the father of thriller. And psychological thriller is still relatively new and has been more popular in recent decades compared to other classic thrillers such as horror thriller, supernatural thriller, and action thriller. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. Horror thriller, you can think about The Conjuring, that's a horror thriller. An action thriller, The Avengers. James Bond is an action thriller. Mission Impossible is an action thriller. If psychological thriller have been popular, it is because mental health has been more transparent to be talked about. Psychological thriller is usually mixed with other genre or themes of thriller, so they wouldn't be overly confusing to the audience, because at the end of the day, not everyone can read each other's minds. In the video, we embodied a lot of traditional codes and conventions in thriller movies, such as killer, danger, evil, which you can see in almost single thriller in a way or another. So we're gonna start with the opening scene of my video, which is this, and you can see someone dragging a suitcase and walking past this really dodgy place with you can definitely tell it was a bit of wetness in there. It was very dirty and stuff like that. So the lighting we use, it was a street light, and street lights are usually white lights. White lights make you feel quite uncomfortable. That's why at home you don't really ever see a white light at your place. Like, it's always warm lighting. Well, except for my bathroom, but that's oddly specific, and we're not going to go into that today. White light makes you feel like you're in an interrogation room, and it makes people nervous. We chose a really dark and dodgy location as well because, I think this one just links into danger, because why is someone walking in such a dodgy place, disgusting place at night? Like, why are they doing that? What's going on? And this causes the enigma cone of who is this person? What's in that suitcase? Why are you walking past that place? Just can be a lot of questions asked already in this first scene. In the second part, we do have a shadow against the wall, which is a really traditional thriller thing, because either time you want to see someone like quite mysterious, it's always gonna be like a silhouette or like a shadow of something that kind of like scares you a little bit, but it kind of shows you who they are. And that makes another enigma code that's like, who is holding the knife? Or who is this person? Next one, we do have a load of trash. And I feel like a load of trash can actually represent like chaos. Like, you can feel like, imagine having a dirty room. You just feel like so chaotic in your room, it's dirty. After that, The playing of the entirety of the scene of her just sitting at the table with like trash all over the floor, the uniform at the side of the closet, with the true crime playing around. I mean, looking around the room being that messy while playing a true crime podcast will automatically make the audience think like, okay, this person is either really invested in true crime, there's some sort of investigator, they're the killer, or they're just a potato couch. That is another enigma. We've created the clip where the scene have moved to our protagonist, Rue Green. She is, just focused on her eyes, and she has a hood up looking through a tutor website. These enigma codes can make the audience kind of wonder like, what is going on? What is this? Who is this? Is this gonna be our main character? And in comparison to later in our video, which our second character comes out, the lighting with him is more warmer. It's a warm lighting. As I mentioned, warm lighting makes you feel more relaxed and more comfortable. It's what you have at home anyways. But the first person that we see actually in this video has been in really poor lighting and a really cold color grading this entire time, from the beginning of the scene to basically the end of this entire video. And the audio play between, there's a difference. For Rue Green, our antagonist, she has this true crime podcast playing in the background with Jeffrey Dahmer, narcotics and stuff.
And then held her captive in his basement, where he tortured her verbally.
But when it's swapped over to our second character, Devlin, you can hear a bit of really relaxing, jazzy music. Which is usually what you hear at the lobby of a hotel. Our antagonist opens her eyes. The really jazzy music stops. Which is kind of like we're back into reality. We're back into this room with the same girl. She is different from Devlin. You can tell she's different. She is very suspicious. And we have different shots, such as like close-up shots of her demeanor, of expressions, and so her behavior and how she's acting in general, so we can kind of show this person that they're suspicious. Going back a little bit into the video, we do have a stitch, a pink stitch, I don't really know what's the name of it, and a knife placed on a table, which is like a contrast because like there's such a cute soft toy and right next to it is this massive knife just sitting next to it. It works as a contrast of each other, and the position of two props kind of give us clues about how people perceive her and how she acts, and which is like it's like the bright and the dark. We have a close-up of her face of sweat dripping down her face, which with a really harsh cold white lighting onto it with her eyes open. As I said, the white light is like an interrogation room. We use the close-up shot on focusing on her hand or opening the door. We're not showing what kind of person you're gonna see after the door. And that's when we introduced our title, The Silent Study. Writing, we just kind of screen recorded it and written it. But we also taken inspiration from Pretty Little Liars, the show. It's an amazing show. Please go watch it. I love the show so much. And the red writings and like Pretty Little Liars, I feel like red always, you associate red with blood. It portrays danger. I mean, like, you see the stop sign in the middle of the road. It's literally red. But that's basically the entire video that we have created. I don't know about you guys, but for me, ever since COVID has ended, I just don't enjoy going out anymore. Like, I want to spend time in my room. I want to be sitting in the air conditioning and literally just doing nothing. There's actually a certain group of people who live this lifestyle. They stay at home and they don't go out. And these people are called hikikomoris. So, hikikomori is a Japanese term to refer individuals who withdraw from society and lead extremely reclusive lives, of often staying in their homes for months or even years and decades as well. Usually happens within young adults, particularly men who isolate themselves due to social anxiety, pressure to succeed, or difficulty integrating into society after school. And there's different aspects in this. There's a social aspect and there's also a psychological aspect, which kind of like explains it from a dispositional factor. And when it comes to psychological aspects, family structure has been a major thing. It can be like dispute with family, or there is a stigma around mental health because this phrase is created by the Japanese. And if you know in Japanese, the education and the work pressure in the country and the culture itself, it's so intense. Also with other East Asian countries such as China, Korea, competition within education is just absolutely crazy in a lot of East Asian countries, which is why this whole hikikomori thing is not only in Japan, you can see it in other East Asian countries as well. You can see it in Korea, in which this inspiration I took was from the Korean case. This is the South Korean murder case in May 2023. Song Yoo-jung committed a premeditated murder driven by an obsession with true crime media. She was living in near complete social isolation for around 5 years, which she used almost all her time consuming crime-related TV shows. And she has been socially withdrawn for almost 5 years. A little sidetrack, social withdrawal can actually cause hallucinations, paranoia, and delusions that can catalyze any murderous intent. I'm not saying that all types of social withdrawing can cause this, but this is a higher chance. As famous serial killer Ted Bundy, he has traits of antisocial personality disorder, in which social withdrawal actually kind of catalyzes that as well. A little side note, she took the psychopath test and she actually scored higher than Ted Bundy. As I said, social withdrawal can cause hallucinations and paranoia to make people, when they go out back into the public, get really, really anxious and they do something. And I took inspiration from this case because I think it is a factor that really needs to be seen, because you can sure have psychological aspects of it, but also some of these people choose to be in this position because of internet and gaming addictions. This is why they keep themselves in their place. But being isolated in a room for 5 years, we don't know what's going on. She has been consuming a lot of true crime media in the 5 years, in which kind of inspired her to kill out of curiosity, because she wanted to know how it feels like to kill. She idolizes these serial killers. So, in the conclusion, not saying that all hikikomoris are potentially dangerous or they can cause any harm, but there's always some kind of possibility that the person who isolated themselves from the public have gone through something in their mind as well from being isolated and not talking to any single person at all. That is a very, very big problem. And with the technology we have nowadays, see, children don't even go outside and play anymore because of technology. You have everything on a phone, on a computer. Every source of entertainment on a computer. Which is why I chose this as a social issue to be talked about, and this really inspired me to kind of make this real-based story into the short film. This is the end of my director's commentary on this entire project. I really loved doing this project. It was really fun. It was a really good experience. I learned a lot from it as well. It was really, really tiring for sure, and of course we had really, really difficult times, but overall I genuinely think that it was a really fun experience and I would do it again, honestly. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe. We'll see you again. Bye bye.